Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. Hope yours is off to a good start. And we've got a lot of running backs to look at today. In fact, I'm going to be trying to evaluate 16. That's right, 16 total running backs today, starting with Sean Tucker of Syracuse. Real quick before I get into the draft analysis here, the Hawks Nest stream, the B&B show, has been moved to tonight. So we will be doing the stream over on his channel tonight at 7 o'clock. Be there. We're going to be talking about the number 5 overall pick in the upcoming draft. So definitely be there. It has been moved to tonight for 1 week only. All right. So we got Sean Tucker here. He's the first guy we're going to take a look at here. 21 years old, 5'9", so a little bit short, but he's got a little bit of weight to him. 207 pounds. Not a huge guy, but not a small guy either. Most of the big boards have him going in the 4th round. A couple have him going in like the 5th. The mock draft database has him going in the 4th, and I kind of expect that. You take a look at it. He actually was more productive in 2021 than 2022. He did have a little bit of a decrease in usage in 2022 and a decrease in production. Still, very productive 2-year run, over 2,500 rushing yards, and he added a 50. I mean, what is that? That's almost 5. Excuse me. That's a little more than 2.5 catches a game, I believe, over the last 2 years. So pretty good production as a player. So what can I say about him in terms of his attributes? He's fast. He's got great acceleration, so he's going to get up to his good top speed very quickly. He's good in the open field. He's got a lot of moves to make people miss. He's got a lot of lateral agility to move around once he's in the open field. He is able to push through contact. When you make contact with him as a defender, he is going to push through you and at the very least fall forward to pick up the extra yards. And he was good with ball security while he was at Syracuse. The issues with him as a prospect, not great results as a pass catcher, even though I would say the numbers are good. Like I said, I mean, he caught a lot of passes over the last 2 years. That's 56 balls in 24 games. That's almost 2.5, yeah. 2.5 per game. But there are drops. He's not a great route runner. So I think that overall you would look at his pass catching ability and say it's a mixed bag. Pass protection, not so good. And honestly, in 2022, it seemed like there was a general regression in his short yardage and decisiveness, which is kind of a weird thing you would not typically expect to see in a running back, but there was a regression there. So he's a good prospect, don't get me wrong. I think that he'll probably have some success in the NFL. Personally, the regression in 2022 in the short yardage traits has me turned off a little bit. So I would take him in the 5th round and beyond if he's still there. I don't know if he's going to get there, but at that point, he's value. So I'm not a huge Sean Tucker fan. He's all right. He's shown the ability to be the kind of back that I'm looking for, but he wasn't really great at it in 2022, I don't think. Next up, we got Kenny McIntosh of the Georgia Bulldogs, 23 years old, 6 foot flat, 204 pounds, 30.5-inch arms, 9-inch hands. Only did the 40 at the combine, was kind of slow, but his 10-yard split was fine. The big boards, they mostly have him in the 4th or 5th round. The Draft Network likes him enough to put him in the 3rd round. The database puts him in the 4th. I would imagine that's the likely outcome here. Over the last 2 years, he hasn't had monster production as a running back. Even last year, when he played in 15 games, he was averaging only, well, actually not even 10 attempts a game. But he was very efficient and effective with those carries. And he was also a prolific receiver. He gave you nearly 3 receptions a game. So in that year, which was the closest he's ever gotten to having a full slate of opportunities, he took advantage of the opportunities that he got for sure. The previous year, as you can see, he was barely averaging 4 carries a game. So pretty good 2022. He's reasonably fast for his size. I know the combine 40 was kind of bad. I think he plays faster than he runs on a track. I don't look at that 40 time and I think that's how I'm going to judge Kenny McIntosh as a player. I think that he's fairly fast for his size on a football field. On zone runs where, he has to seek out the hole, he has to seek out the blocking and figure out where to go, he's got plus vision. He's got an explosive burst. He moves well in the open field. It's not amazing or anything, but he does have some jiggle in the open field for sure. He's able to run tacklers over as well as evade them. So he's giving you some elusiveness traits and some power traits, which is, hey, versatility. He's a pretty good pass catcher. Like I said, in 2022, he showed that part of his game a lot. He can even line up as a wide receiver. That was something that Georgia did with him from time to time that I saw. He was also a good kick returner in college, so you might be getting a little bit of special teams value here. However, what I would say about Kenny is that he's very raw because he didn't get a ton of reps in college. He didn't get that 1 year where it's like, okay, I'm going to get the ball 250 times, and I'm really going to figure out all the little nuances of this position. He can improvise a little too much. As a pass protector, a blitz picker-upper, not so great. He does run upright. He's, one of these taller and more slender running backs that kind of runs a little too standing straight up. Did not show much in short yardage and his top speed. Like, he's got pretty good acceleration. He's got pretty good ability to move around. But I still think, maybe it's not a slow top speed. Maybe that's not the right word I wanted to put here. But I do think he's not going to outrun defensive backs once he gets into the clear. That's not happening. So I think there's some real versatility in McIntosh's game. I came away liking this player somewhat, but he's going to need some experience to unlock it. And I've said this before, we need help now. We need guys who can play now and be effective now. So I would make him a value pick in the 5th round and beyond, but that's about it. Okay, moving along to one of my favorites here, Roschon Johnson of the Texas Longhorns. I might spend a minute on this guy because I really like him. Excuse me. And I think this might be just what the doctor ordered. If you want to know Roschon Johnson in a nutshell, Chris Carson without the injury history and without the fumbling. That's basically what Roschon is. 6 feet tall, 219 pounds, 32-inch arms, 9.5 plus inch hands, 9 5/8. Ran the exact same 40 time as Carson. I believe that his 10-yard split was identical as well. He didn't have amazing jump results. 31.5-inch vertical is kind of low. 10-foot 2-inch broad is actually pretty good, though. So, pretty good athlete. Not super fast, but for a 220-pound back who, by the way, might have slimmed down a little bit for the combine, that's workable. We can totally work with that. That is good enough. That is exactly what Chris Carson gave us. That's why I make the comparison. Big boards kind of all over the place here. We have CBS that actually has him almost as a 2nd rounder, but then you have ESPN that has him in like the 6th or 7th. I think for the most part right now, most big boards have him in the 4th, and that's where I expect him to go right now. I would not be shocked if there was a late rise in his draft stock, but as of right now, he looks like a 4th rounder to me. This is a guy who never had a monster load at Texas because he spent the last few years playing behind Bijan. This was Bijan's backup the last few years, and because of that, as you can see, he didn't get a tremendous number of touches in any one season. In fact, over the last 2 years, he's had exactly 107 touches in each of his 2 campaigns. But he's been very effective with those touches, over 550 yards each of the last 2 years, 10 total touchdowns, gave you a little bit as a receiver. So there is a little bit of a concern of can he take on a bigger workload, but for the workload we would probably need to give him, he's good. He's one of the biggest backs in this class. I know he's not huge, but compared to a lot of the other running backs we've looked at, he's pretty big. He's got great acceleration and burst. Like, he has the exact same 10-yard 10-yard split as Bijan, even though Bijan was much faster. So he's going to accelerate up to top speed very quickly. He's going to burst through that hole and get up to that top speed in an instant. He's got great running back instincts and vision. He knows where to be. He knows where the blocking's going. He knows where the defenders are going. He knows how to set defenders up. He breaks tackles. One thing I like about the fact that he didn't get a ton of carries at any point in college, even though there is a little bit of a concern about the rawness here, I don't know if I see that so much with Roschon. He doesn't strike me as super raw. And the thing with that is there's not a lot of wear and tear on his body. He's very effective in short yardage, good at bowling people over, pushing the pile, falling forward, picking up those extra yards. He's got good hands as a receiver, and he's a phenomenal pass protector. which, I mean, you put that all together, you're getting pretty close to the complete package here as a running back. The issues, the concerns with him, with Roschon, he runs upright, which, hey, that could be a problem on short yardage, admittedly, right? If we're thinking about a short yardage back here, a power back, you don't want to run upright to where players can just take you down by getting lower than you and hitting you low. You want to get that pad level a little bit lower. He's not going to make a lot of players miss in the open field. He's no Barry Sanders here or no Saquon Barkley. Not a tremendous top-end speed. His route running is not great, even though his hands are good, so not a great receiver out of the backfield. I'd say a decent one. And, of course, in college, he got to play behind Bijan, one of the best running backs in recent memory. That's going to make your life a little bit easier. So, this guy's one of my favorites in the class regardless. This is exactly what we need. Like, you put this guy in a backfield with Ken Walker, and you've got lightning and thunder here, basically. And just like what you would exactly want to have with a lightning and thunder, your lightning has a little bit of thunder, and your thunder has a little bit of lightning. It's not just a, switch that you turn on and off depending on who's on the field. But Roschon Johnson, to me, is the closest thing to Chris Carson in this class. You want to find the next Chris Carson to complement what we have with K9. I think this is your guy. So I consider him to be one of my prime targets in the 4th round. I would not hate spending a 3rd rounder on him if that's what it takes. I like this guy a lot. I don't think you need to because the running back class is so strong, but I would consider this guy a prime 4th round target right now. We'll see where the draft stock goes. One last guy for this video. We've got Kendra Miller of TCU, the national championship punching bags. 21 years old, 5'11", 215 pounds, so a little bit of heaviness to him as well. Kind of long arms, 9.9 3/8 inch hands. One big board has him going in the 3rd, but the others all have him going in the 4th, except for the Draft Network, which actually has him in the 7th. Don't know if I see that. But the mock draft database says 4th round, and that's kind of what I expect. His 2022 campaign was his big splash campaign. 1,400 rushing yards. He threw in about a catch a game, 17 rushing touchdowns. The year before, he was being used in more of a committee-type role where he only got the ball about 8 or 9 times a game. So, Kendra Miller, he's a patient runner. He uses his vision very well. Definitely one of these running backs who understands how to utilize zone concepts to figure out where the hole is going to be. He can endure hits and remain upright. He's got good contact balance, as they say. He's got good acceleration. He gets up to his top speed fast. And he is going to do some stuff in the open field that is, at the very least, I mean, he's not a negative in that area. I don't know if he's a positive, but he does have some ability to do the jump cuts, and that's going to make all the difference on some of these runs for sure. But while he does have good acceleration, he doesn't really have great top-end speed. He's not going to make a lot of players miss. Again, like I said about some previous guys, this is not Barry Sanders we're dealing with here. And there wasn't a heck of a lot going on passing downs. Like I said, he would average a catch a game, basically. Not much experience pass protection either. Not giving you a lot there. So kind of a narrow use case with Kendra Miller. And I would go so far as to say, when you look at him overall, you're just kind of bored. He's okay. He's fine. There's nothing super wrong with him. But it's just a little bit dull compared to some of these more specialized prospects that are really good in a particular area. I do think that Kendra Miller is interesting because I think that he'll be good in short yardage and A-gap type situations where you just need to plow into the middle. You just need to push the pile. You just need to pick up those 2 or 3 yards to make sure the drive stays alive. I do think he'll be pretty good at that, but there isn't a whole lot else here that's interesting. I'm going to say I think he's worth it in the 4th, but it's close. I wish there was a little more going on here with Kendra Miller, but I wouldn't hate him in the 4th. I'd love him. I'd like him more in the 5th, of course, but he's got kind of a narrow use case here, but that use case happens to coincide with what I want right now in a running back. All right, so those are the running backs we're going to take a look at in this video. We're going to do more in a few hours and then more a few hours after that. So see you guys then. Hope you guys enjoyed the evaluation. Again, Hawks Nest stream has been moved to tonight over on the Hawks Nest channel. Hope to see you there. Go Hawks. Those are my initial day 3 running backs.